like the fact that you kind of never know who's going to be in class. There tends to be, age diversity, gender diversity, racial diversity. It's a very inclusive practice. So you just feel accepted because there's no one body type or height or anything or skill level. And it depends on the day. I tend to do a little better if the person in front of me is wonderful. It just puts me, I could just kind of model that person, but it really doesn't matter what's going on. And lots of times I practice without my glasses on, and I truly can't tell what the person next to me is doing sometimes. So you just get into what you're doing, and it's very calming. I mean, I know that's the meditation part, but that's just sometimes to the point where I sometimes move away from the dialogue because I've just into myself. I mean, I just forgot that I'm supposed to move and go to the next position.
Oh, how fun.
That Yeah, yeah. So that's very and I got into it because, as you mentioned, I have these grandchildren, and I realized I want to get down on the floor and play with them, and I want to stand up and down, and I want to be able to throw in the air a 30-pound kid without it hurting my back. So I'm reaching my goals.
That's
And
amazing.
they do yoga too. They do
Oh,
yoga as
yay.
well. Yeah, 3-year-olds, down doggies. Yeah,
3-year-olds they're just natural yogis. I think in our culture
I hate it. They're so flexible. I don't
right,
care what position I'm in, they'll do it better.
they come out that way. They come out ready to do it. We like we force them to sit in desks and at computers and all this stuff, and their bodies start to lose it. So I think
Yeah,
it's wonderful that you're reminding them at a young age that your whole life you should be moving around like this.
absolutely.
That should
Which is
never
hard,
end.
and it's been hard to be inside, and particularly with little bitty kids. So this has worked out really well. In fact, today it was kind of actually calming just to kind of stay home and not run and get there on time. So, but I prefer being in the studio. But there's advantages to being at home, to practicing at home also.
Yeah, there's an advantage to discovering a space at home where you can be meditative. Um,
Hmm.
and it's fine for someone to say, I can't do that. And then for them to be in studio, to see people at home doing it, then they think, I guess I can do that.
So
Where,
Sherry, you have something right now that's keeping you accountable to practice
Hmm.
more from home, right?
Uh-huh.
We're doing our 20 classes in 30-day challenge.
Yeah.
So if there was any like hesitation for practicing at home, you thought maybe somebody might think, you know what, I've got this challenge. I'm going to kind of force myself to do it and see what happens. And I think from what I'm hearing you say is that there's benefits to practicing from home. From
Yeah.
home.
Well, particularly if it's a little colder, it was supposed to rain today. So I just thought, I'll just set up at home. I have a little new towel I bought,
that's so
all the little
cool.
gear. And so yeah, that's just, and it takes a tad less time.
Mm-hmm.
So depending upon my schedule, I've been averaging about once a week at home, maybe, or 3 times a month at home. Just
That's incredible.
more from my schedule than the pandemic. But that was a game changer when we could do that at home during the beginning of the virus.
Uh-huh. When we
That
were all
was
locked down completely. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
And
it,
Well,
it gave us a lot of it gave us like a lot of life too, to see your names, and like we would see your names as registrants of the class.
mm-hmm.
So just to see your name and to know that you were at home making the most of the situation gave our teachers and our staff like a lot of hope that we still wanted to be together. We just knew that it wasn't right to be, it wasn't safe. So it was wonderful.
Recognizing us who are in other spaces.
Hmm.
So I don't know exactly how you do that, whether they key over to you who's in the other room, or what. But that's affirming. And in fact, it's really funny. I mean, a lot of us so well that the position that we're probably not doing is the best we could that day, and you make a comment about it, and it's so funny because people will look around the room and say, "Where's the camera?" And there's but that's nice, to have your name mentioned. So if you're
Yeah,
not there.
so important. Have you been finding that doing these 20 and 30 classes, you've noticed some stuff about your practice changing?
Yes. So the first thing is I get up and I say, do I really want to go today? And then, but I go. But what I found is not only is my body stronger, I'm pushing myself a little more. There are positions that I've done, I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. I've heard a direction I just never heard before.
Wow.
And I guess it's just because I'm just there and I'm more in the flow. And so I'm just open to hearing things maybe that I hadn't heard before, because before I was trying to figure out what was coming next, or I just don't even think about what comes next because but it's really a mind thing. It's just it's hard to explain. It's just a centeredness that comes with doing it so regularly. And there have been other times when I've done it 3 times a week, but I've never done something 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow, great.
So
and you've been practicing 5 years.
For me, so for me, that was a tipping point. To get that extra class or 2 in for the week is just what did it. It's just automatic. So you all are the experts, but I assume the idea is that frees your mind to just kind of heal.
Well, Jennifer, count with me. You talk about your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I do. I talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So what's one again? Once a week?
If you practice once a week, you know that you need this yoga. If you get yourself into the studio or practice online once a week, you know you need this yoga. And if you come twice a week, you're starting to make changes in your schedule and your life to get to yoga. If you come 3 times a week, you are going to start see the changes outside the room. Nicer to people, eat better, sleep better, don't take things so seriously. You come in 4 times a week, you start to really see the changes in your practice. You start to, like you were saying, you start to hear the words more clearly. Something that the teacher's been saying for 5 years clicks in your mind. If you come 5 times a week, and this is that's when you become the miracle that you're seeking in your life. If you come to yoga 5 times a week, if you're looking for miracles, you're one of them. And then if you come more, you have to deal with your ego. You're like, oh my God, I do so much yoga. I'm amazing. So it does seem to work out that way. When I come 4 times a week, when I can get myself on the mat 4 times a week in front of a teacher, not just practicing, but in front of a teacher who's like, hey, what are you doing with your left wrist? I really start to see some changes in my practice. I start to have, and it's still happening. 13 years I've been practicing, and it still happens that my practice will go away from me because I have other things to do. I don't actually get in front of a teacher. I practice, but I don't necessarily get to have that guidance from a teacher. And I'll get back to it, and the teacher will be like, your standing bow is a mess. What's going on? And I'm like, you're right. So so it really is a consistent practice, consistently in front of somebody giving you honest and loving feedback, that kind of criticism that helps us grow. And I believe it. And
I find that, Jennifer, a lot of other styles of yoga in America specifically really tap into this, it's your body, do what you can. And that's the messaging that we hear a lot, this gentle ease into it. Whereas Bikram yoga, I feel like, I remember at my teacher training with Bikram for 9 weeks in California in 2009, I remember a teacher taught for him, because he would have guest teachers come in and teach, because we're taking 2 classes a day for that 9-week period. And he wouldn't teach all the classes. He taught most of the evening classes for us. We still got them a lot.
Us too.
Yeah.
And Saturday morning.
And Saturday morning you would take, with him. A teacher got up on the podium and was very gentle and was very soft-spoken. And it had this feeling of do what you can kind of energy. And after the class, or maybe it was in the middle of class, Bikram pops into the room. There were like 400 of us in the room. Bikram pops in the room and says, don't teach like that. And said it to all the students, to all of us. He said, don't teach my yoga like that, is what he said. So that always sticks with me, that I feel like a lot of yoga studios, they don't have that structure that Bikram yoga has. And if you're the
Right.
kind of person, I was
Right.
talking about that today in class when I was teaching, I think there's a type
Right.
of person that's attracted to Bikram yoga, and likes it for that. And that if you come to take Bikram yoga at the Bikram Yoga Alliance specifically, we're specifically staying on brand with that sort of structured, people call it militant, a militant
Rigid.
energy,
I've heard rigid.
We
But
get,
that's what it is.
that's, yeah, right. So yeah, I was just interested. It was interesting because I'm just coming off of that class, teaching it just now, where I felt like I gave a really strong, structured Bikram yoga class. And I know that there's people in the room who kind of, sometimes they give you a little bit of side eye, like, oof, he's really strict. Like, like, oof, why is he on me so much? And that's Bikram. That's his yoga. That's what it is. And so I like being able to talk about that messaging whenever we have the opportunity, because that's just what it is. It's not anything else. And
Right.
so,
You've only been with a Bikram studio, even though you've done other kinds of yoga, you've done vinyasa, but you've kept your practice pretty consistent to be Bikram. And I do find that the people that come to a Bikram studio to practice, the people that crave it and like come back to it, they're very naturally giving people. They want to give their best. They want to work hard. They want to know the rules so they can follow them, not know the rules so they can break them, right? And so I find like that's the meat and potatoes of the student body of a Bikram class. And it's also why we run into a little bit of this going on, because somebody comes in and they're like, I'm working really hard. And the teacher's like, actually, you're not. You're doing it wrong. Let me help you. And so you have to shift from like this, I'm a really hard worker, to, oh, I guess I have to be a really good listener also. I have to be a hard worker and I need to be a good listener. And if I bring those together, I create the meditation. The meditation comes from, I know where I am. I know why I came here. Wait a minute. Maybe somebody else knows something too that's going to help me know what I know better. And you in other yoga studios, I've practiced a lot of yoga. I've gone around and tasted a bunch of different styles to get a sense of why I keep doing what I do. And we have a teacher, and we follow him. We follow what he teaches us, not necessarily everything he says, but like what he says about yoga. So, and there's not a lot of other styles of yoga out there that do that. Most of the yoga studios in America are actually looking to create their own niche, their own teaching, their own style that they brand and sell and get people to buy into. And we keep going back to, well, what does we say our dialogue? What does our dialogue say? What does our teacher say about this particular thing? And the reason we're doing this today, and hopefully to keep doing it, is to ask you students if you have questions, because that's the organic process, is to say, hey, you are a regular practitioner, you're committing to this practice. What information are we giving you that you're not getting? How can we help you get it better? Because maybe we're not reading it right, or maybe we still need to go back to our own practice and see why we're not saying it in a way that's deliverable to just the average committed student. So if you have questions about your practice or a particular posture, we would love to hear
No,
it.
just yeah, I like that that option. It took me a while to figure out why we had the sequence, though. I mean, it's just what you said. I mean, it's the rules. There's health reasons, whatever. And I think it's hard for a new student. You can't get that all into the dialogue in the 90 minutes. You have to kind of keep coming, and every time you come, like Michael, today you added a little about the rules, and every time you come you hear a little something different, but it takes a while. It took me a while to get, oh, this is why we're doing this. Yeah, there is a benefit. I feel that. Yeah, go ahead.
I think a lot of people, when they come to the yoga class at first, it's very much about just how good you feel afterwards in your body, and the back pain is gone, and you sleep better. and it's these physical things that you feel. And then after you practice for a while and you start to learn more about where this came from, because how could something make you feel so good? People learn there's a history behind it.
Mhm.
And so that
Mhm.
usually comes later in somebody's practice. It's not something that a brand new student actually really knows about when they come in. They're just nervous that they're going to be in a hot room,
Now even more
possibly
nervous.
possibly half naked,
Yeah.
during COVID.
Right.
These are the
Right.
things that are on new students' minds, and then not knowing what they're going to do, not knowing what the postures are going to be, and if they're going to look silly doing it and all that stuff. So
Yeah, if they're going to feel like there's spotlight too, that there's
Mhm.
some spotlight on them. And Bikram is, in fact, we've had some feedback before by fitness instructors to say, like, you need to give a little bit more to the new student. And we compare that with the teachings that come from Bikram, and Bikram is like, leave him alone. Great job, Fred, the new guy. In fact, the best thing to do is to really give the business to somebody who's been coming for a long time and might be getting a little bit of an ego about how great their practice must be. The best thing would be to be like,
Well, I did think about that because Monday there were 3 of us actually in the room, which was fantastic. It was
That
like a
is
private
fun.
lesson.
that is fun.
Yeah, there, Michael, you were doing something else. But I thought about that as a new student, that might have been hard because how do you learn the positions?
Yeah,
Yeah,
how do you just blend with, you got to blend with the people at first before you even know if you
Yeah.
if you feel like you have to give it space and time to feel like you belong. But the sense of belonging doesn't just come right away. You have to feel welcomed, then you have to feel like you welcome that feeling. We've had people leave and they get really upset just with something we said to someone in the room. Someone else got in trouble for being lazy or something
Really?
like that. Yeah, there's been stuff like that before. Yeah, that's happened in the past. But it's a relationship. Bikram yoga is 100% a relationship between the spirit and the body. And then that goes out to the student and the teacher, and the students each other, and then the community itself. So the relationship that's at the center of Bikram yoga, to bring the body and the mind together for a singular moment so that they know that they're one, even though they're two separate things. So and so you keep doing that and keep doing that, and over time the body and the mind are communicating with each other so much that you're not so worried about what other people are going through, because you just know, oh yeah, that's right, that's where you are in your practice. Enjoy it. What's the hurry? And I think it's so fun that this practice really came from the fact that Bikram was really frustrated with the fact that people would come in and say, oh, I'm having these fights with my husband and my stomach hurts. And he's like, do these postures. And then they come back and they're like, it's still happening. Do these postures. So he just started throwing postures together, not throwing them together, taking sequences of postures that are prescribed for specific ailments and saying, let's do them at the same time together. Okay, fine. Come and see me and we'll do them together, because I know you're not going home and doing them like I told you to. Oh, look at that.
Hey, Sherry,
Well,
did you get your cup yet?
a cup.
Did you
I
get
have
it yet?
not picked up my
You
cup.
haven't?
I did not.
You need to
Pick
check
it up the next time you're in studio. You're on the 20 and 30 challenge. We want to
Okay.
give you some swag.
That's for our 20 and 30
Yes,
challenge.
ma'am. Do you know
I
what the
like
symbol is?
swag. I like
Oh yeah, show her the
what
symbol.
is that?
That's my car. I drive a Volkswagen Beetle, and I call it the yoga bug.
It's a Y and a B.
Oh, that's so funny.
So she's
That's so
driving around
funny.
Northern Virginia in a punch buggy.
I'm driving around in a punch buggy.
No, I like the little mask. People comment on that all the time.
Oh, good.
Oh, your black one. Oh, I don't have one here. It's made out of this, right?
Yeah, it's made out of our t-shirt.
It's made out of the t-shirt here.
Yeah. Oh, is that? Yeah, it's very comfortable. I love it.
Oh, good.
Hey, there's some other t-shirts
Okay.
here we have when you complete your challenge, Sherry.
Yeah, that's one of our
Oh,
old
cool.
ones.
Here's one of our old ones.
That
We
was
got-
my first logo.
That was your first logo?
Yeah,
Look at this bright orange one. This is the second logo, right?
that was the second
this
logo,
one
the
here.
one that's coming up. Yeah.
That's the
Well,
second
that's cool.
logo. Wait,
Oh,
wait.
yeah.
I like this one. I think this one's one of my favorites that we've ever had.
That was our 30 and 30 that we did 3 years
Oh my
ago.
gosh.
Oh, this one's a long sleeve.
Yeah. Oh,
You like
look at
long
that
sleeves,
one.
Sherry?
Okay.
You gonna finish your challenge? Get your long sleeve.
Yeah.
30 and
Cool.
20 and 30 classes prize. Sherry, I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
for being here today.
Well,
Yeah.
vice versa. So
If you have
thank
any
you for
questions,
taking.
ask anytime. You come out of a class and you're like excited about how to get to the next level or to the next step in something, ask, because all the teachers are great. All the teachers that teach at the Alliance are so great.
I do have one quick question.
Yeah,
When I'm in a class with a virtual teacher, but there's a staff member in the room, will they correct if they see that you're in a position that's incorrect?
very likely.
Sometimes.
Yeah, if they catch it, I'm
Okay.
sure if they catch it, they will.
Adrian did that today with
Okay.
a student,
That's
and
good.
it had and we were so synced up because I can't see what's going on at Falls Church when we're broadcasting, but we were so synced
Right.
up that I gave a correction, that I gave a general speech about structure and doing things the right way. You remember that today? I said if you do it
Yes.
100%, your effort, even if you can only do 1% of the posture, if you do that 100% right, then you get the benefits.
Right,
But if
remember that.
But if you do 1% wrong and you know it's wrong, it's all wrong. It's 100% wrong. And I said that, and Adrian messaged me. He said, "Thank you for saying that," because there was a particular student who I had just corrected in the class while you were teaching, and then you
Okay.
said that after I corrected the student. And
We're
so,
the same.
Okay.
so
We
there's
all
that universal
study the same
connection.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all study this and we
Okay,
talk to
I'm
each
gonna
other.
add that.
Thank you so much. That's a great
Well,
question.
thank you for your time today. I enjoyed the conversation.
Oh gosh, thank you for your practice and your commitment. We'll see you in the studio.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye.